All right, we will let everybody filter on in here so that way we can, and we'll get started here in a minute. So we're going to be talking about Hurricane Idalia that is turning into the Gulf here this afternoon at 2:30, and you can see this is the latest radar information on the hurricane currently, and you can see where the center of circulation is. We'll actually show you a couple different radars. This is the radar. We'll go to the single site radar actually, and you can see single site radar, the center of circulation right out here into this area here. And then if we switch on over and go to the composite radar, you'll be able to see there's the center of circulation as well. One thing we have seen over the last hour or so are these outer bands starting to come on shore here down towards Naples in that area, and you can see several tornado warnings. Those magenta polygons, those were confirmed tornadoes from Naples up towards Bonita Springs. And now with this latest scan, you can see this blue box here that is showing up. That is a mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center, and that is outlining an area where there is the possibility for a tornado watch here this afternoon as those outer bands continue to move across places like Punta Gorda, Cape Coral, Naples, back up into Bradenton, even up into Tampa and Clearwater. So there's about a 40% chance that those areas could see a tornado watch with these outer bands as they continue to move on through. Let's pan back out here and we'll take a look at the current satellite, and you can see where we have the center of circulation out here. We'll switch on over to infrared. Some pretty impressive cloud tops here in association with Hurricane Idalia. And those are some high cloud tops when you start to get into like the very bright pinks, the magentas, and even to kind of those whiter colors. Indicating there's a lot of convection and that the storm is growing. So taking a look, this is the 2 p.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, and we'll zoom in on this a bit. And as of 2 p.m. here, we still had a Category 1 hurricane with a maximum sustained winds of 90 miles per hour, a wind gust maximum of 105 miles per hour. This is moving pretty quick. This is moving off to the north at about 15 miles per hour this afternoon with a minimum pressure of 974 millibars. And as we work on into the afternoon, into tonight, this has continued to strengthen, and we're expecting this to rapidly strengthen as this hurricane moves over some very warm Gulf water. So as we work on into tonight, this is by the time we work into 8 p.m., we're still expecting maximum winds this evening as about 8 p.m. to be at about 105 miles per hour, gusting to 125 miles per hour. It's really tonight into tomorrow morning where we're expecting this storm to rapidly develop and rapidly intensify. And by the time we work into 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, it's going to be getting pretty close to making landfall at this point, and we're expecting this to be a strong Category 3 hurricane with 125 mile per hour maximum sustained winds in the eye, with wind gusts of up to 155 miles per hour. So this is it'd be very strong wind gusts with that. Like I said, a pretty strong Cat 3 hurricane is what we're expecting at this point. If we kind of pan out and scroll down, you can see some of the watches and warnings that are in place out here along the Florida coastline. We're expecting this to make landfall somewhere up into the Big Bend area or the Big Bend region of Florida. In fact, if we go back over here, we can put up some of the forecast data, some of the forecast models. There we go. And you can see if we zoom in, this white one here, this is the official NHC, National Hurricane Center forecast. The other two or three here, those are models. And you can see by tomorrow morning, we're kind of clustered right here, just off of kind of the Horseshoe Beach, Cedar Key, Deckle Beach area, with the center of circulation by around 8 a.m. tomorrow. So that's why those areas are right now right in the center of the forecast cone for impacts here from Hurricane Idalia. So we go on over This is the morning, the 12Z guidance. I don't know if we have. Let's check real quick and check and see. I don't know if we have any new guidance out. I don't think 18Z's in just yet. Let's see. No, it's not in just yet. It doesn't look like now. So the 18Z data isn't in yet, but this is the 12Z, the morning data. This is the Idalia model track guidance. You can see all clustering up into the Big Bend region. Like I said, kind of out towards Cedar Key and those areas for making landfall early on tomorrow morning. We look at the intensity guidance. You can see there's a lot of guidance suggesting Category 2 to Category 3 hurricane as this makes landfall. Like I said, it's expected to strengthen as it continues to move into or move closer to, and eventually as it comes on shore. And then in a weekend as it gets over land. Nonetheless, the thing we have seen is in most instances, this has been towards the top of the forecast intensity guidance since the last couple of days, and that's why the National Hurricane Center is going with a higher end hurricane with this on the higher end of the guidance, because it's continued to show that. Plus we've got extremely hot water out into the Gulf, and as we work into tonight, the atmosphere becomes even more favorable for this storm as we start to see a little bit of venting occur thanks to some upper level troughing. If we take a look here, this is the peak storm surge forecast. This is a very concerning look to the forecast for places up into the Big Bend region, from Yankeetown back off to the northwest, back out towards the, I think you pronounce that, the Osceola River. 10 to 15 feet of storm surge is expected and forecast in that area. That is very destructive, very dangerous, and even life-threatening storm surge when you're talking 10, 15 feet. And then as you work west and south of there, it tapers down. You can see places down towards Tampa, Clearwater, Bradenton, middle of Longboat Key. You guys are going to see 4 to 7 feet of storm surge. And then as you work to the south of there, you're starting to see 2 to 4 feet. So that is good. You can see out to the west of the center of circulation as you start to work out towards towards Panama City, it pretty quickly goes down as far as the peak storm surge forecast is concerned there. If we go on over, obviously heavy rain also going to be a concern. You can see those areas in orange where you're expecting 6 to 10 inches of rainfall. Those areas in yellow, 4 to 6 inches. And this is over the next couple of days here. If we take a look at the excessive rainfall outlook, basically the flooding risk over the next 3 days, you can see there is a moderate risk out for portions of kind of northeastern Florida, and that includes Jacksonville, and then extends back up into eastern southeastern Georgia, eastern South Carolina, and southeastern portions of North Carolina over the next 3 days, and that's where flooding concerns are going to be the greatest. As we talked about just a minute ago, where the outer bands are continuing to move on in here, there is that tornado threat here. Like I said, there could be a watch issued for these outer bands as we've continued to see some warnings with these. And so tornadoes will be a threat in the right front quadrant of the storm thanks to the wind shear in association with it. There is a slight risk down across portions of Florida today for Tampa, Sarasota, Clearwater, back up into Ocala, and Gainesville, not quite including Orlando, although a tornado can't be ruled out across that area either. Best chances do look to be out west of Orlando, though, for today into tonight, where there could be a few tornadoes. And then tomorrow, you can see that slight risk. It extends from Orlando back out to the west, includes Daytona Beach, Gainesville, Jacksonville. You get into Georgia, Savannah. You're getting into like Hilton Head, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Cape Lookout, and Wilmington, even up towards Cape Hatteras in North Carolina. That slight risk of severe weather is there tomorrow from the Storm Prediction Center for that possibility of tornadoes in the right front quadrant of this storm. So that is also another threat. But like I said, this storm is quickly evolving. If we take a look, we'll go back to this and take a look at the current satellite, and you can see actually just in the last few steps, I'll zoom in, you can see there's some pretty good convection going on here. We'll go back and try to animate this a little bit for you. It probably will take a second, but there's some pretty good convection ongoing right around the eye and into the center of circulation. I'm sorry that these are kind of taking a minute to load here. There's quite a few of them, but you can see some of this deeper convection around the eye and around the center of circulation that continues to occur as this continues to develop here. And it'll be interesting to see how things continue to increase as far as winds and intensity are concerned, especially as we work later this evening on into the overnight, and expecting a pretty large storm to be in place along the Gulf by early tomorrow morning, getting ready to make landfall. So that's all I have for you here this afternoon. Of course, we'll continue to watch things here. If you're in Florida or along the Florida Gulf Coast, especially into the Big Bend region, make sure to be finalizing your hurricane preparations and following local and state orders there and recommendations, because all indications are this is going to continue to strengthen rapidly, especially this evening into tonight, into a major hurricane by tomorrow morning.